How does the Odyssey start in Chinese? Last week we posted a video about the word polutropos and how it's rendered in English by different translators of Homer, including International Poetry Forum alumni Richmond Lattimore and Emily Wilson. I was blown away when I got a message from an intern the next day saying over 250,000 people had seen it on Instagram. My favorite thing I saw was that tons of people were discussing the translation of the first line and suggesting translations in their own languages: Spanish, French, German, Portuguese. Before moving to England for my PhD, I spent some time in Beijing, where I received my master's from Peking University, focusing on Chinese philosophy and religion. I received messages from a few friends asking about how the text starts in Chinese, but I actually knew nothing about Homer's reception history in China. What I discovered blew my mind. We've had some forms of Chinese translations of Homer for 300 years, but we actually don't get a full translation until the early 20th century, and that was from English into Chinese. We don't get the full translation from ancient Greek into Chinese until the 70s. Young translates the proem as verse, but the rest of the text is prose. So the first actual verse translations from ancient Greek into Chinese don't come until 97 and 2000 with the Wang and Chun translations. The Yang translation is a lot of fun. Yang, with assistance from his wife, Gladys Yang, translates 足智多谋. This four-character idiom already exists in the language and literally translates to something like full of stratagems. The Wang translation has to be my favorite. Wang has polutropos as jimin, which I've seen used literally as astute. In other places, it means agile. Like I've seen it describing a soccer player, for example. It looks like this opening line does a bit to retain some of the original Greek and a bit to bring in some ideas from the Chinese. Whereas Yang translates muse as a word meaning goddess, Wang just transliterates the word muse, where muse is 某事. And then I think there's a bit of an intertext here with this last word, 英雄, which means hero. My mind's taken to a poem that begins one of the most famous novels in Chinese history, Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Well, actually, it's a poem that was sort of later introduced to the text by an editor. But it's this really famous opening, and the lines read, 滚滚长江东逝水, 浪花尽英雄, which translates roughly as, the Yangtze River flows out eastwards, sweeping up heroes along the way. The Greek introduces Odysseus as just man. My guess is that the Chinese translators are bringing in this word hero to kind of bring in some intertextual resonances. We have the same word appear in the Yang translation, but there's something about the line ending with this word. I'm sure there are all kinds of intertexts that I'm not registering here. So if you have any ideas, or if you have a favorite translation of the opening lines of the Odyssey into your own language, English or another language, please let us know in the comments.